Welcome back to Dry Hollow Homestead. I'm trying to be a little bit quiet. We have a sleeping baby, but we have milk we need to process. I'm going to bring you along. Today we're making mozzarella. We're starting the buttermilk, cultured buttermilk. This is how I start it when I do not have any in the fridge. This is my first milk processing, really. I haven't done a whole lot since our new lactation and since Daniel has been born, so I'm starting that from scratch, from base zero. I'm also going to do some milk kefir into smoothies. I know I have this stuff on my channel somewhere, but this is just in a day with a full fridge of milk what I'm going to do to get some of that milk out and put it in a different form. So let's get started. So first off, we are going to get our citric acid added to our pot. So for this mozzarella, it is already at 55 degrees. I don't even have my burner on. I've been trying to settle the baby and stuff. I just got the milk out of the fridge. We scraped the cream. That cream is going to be made into butter. From this 3 gallons, we got about 1.5 quarts of cream, so not a huge amount, but still, that will make delicious butter. But I went ahead and put those in the fridge. Butter is best made from cream that has melded together, because they were from different gallons, that have been together overnight in the fridge before we do that. That's best practices. I could turn that into butter right now if I wanted to, but it's supposed to help, so that's what I do. So for this 3 gallons of milk that we're going to make into mozzarella, we needed to get it to 55 degrees. That just happened organically from sitting out for about an hour. It's already at 55 degrees. I'm going to get my measuring spoon, but I'm going to need citric acid. I'm going to go ahead and do this the simple way, not with the natural way with lemon juice or vinegar. I'm just going to do the old standby because this works really well and I need to get this done before baby wakes up. So for 3 gallons, I'm going to use 3 teaspoons of citric acid. So I'm adding my citric acid now. We're going to put it in 1/4 cup of water first. We are going to do 1 teaspoon of citric acid per gallon of milk. So I have 3 gallons of milk in here. I put 3 teaspoons in 1/4 cup of water. This is going to be a little bit loud, but I'm going to stir it till it's dissolved. Okay, now I am going to add it to my milk. And then we are going to stir. Okay, so now we are going to heat this milk to 83 degrees. Also, while we are letting this heat up, I am going to start my cultured buttermilk. So once you have 1 quart of buttermilk in the fridge, you can use that 1 quart to make 4 quarts of cultured buttermilk very easily. But this is how you begin if you have no buttermilk in your fridge. I get these off of, you can get them online, but you can also get them from New England Cheesemaking. You get them from Amazon, and I will link that below, but also New England Cheesemaking Supply Company. And you have to use 1 packet of this. It comes with 5 packets when you get it, to start that. Now, I won't, once I make this with 1 packet, I will never use another packet until I have emptied my fridge of all the buttermilk. I will just continually use the cultured buttermilk that I make from this to propagate new cultured buttermilk. But this is really good to have in your freezer for when you begin, and then if you happen to use up all of your cultured buttermilk, you can use this to start another batch. But it can continue on and on. So I bought this, I don't know, it's been probably 2 years actually, because I've used 2 of them out and we've had 2 lactations. So we need to heat 1 quart of this to 86 degrees. That is what I'm doing right now. I don't even have the burner on, so wasn't getting very warm, was it? So that's just barely warm here. And then we're going to, just like your yogurt, you're going to keep it at a certain temperature. We're going to keep it at 72 degrees, which is about room temperature. It's October here right now, so that I might need to keep it in the living room where it's a little bit warmer, not in my kitchen where it's a little colder, to keep it at about that 72 degrees overnight so that it can culture. But I will show you what it looks like when it's done. So that's what we're doing. We need to warm this little quart of milk to 86 degrees while this is here warming up to 83 degrees. Also, while I have the time and the baby is sleeping, I'm going to go ahead and try to do my milk kefir smoothie. So I always have milk kefir going in the kitchen. This has actually been about too many days, but it'll be fine. We'll eat it, or I will. Don't do that. I can usually fit about half of my half-gallon container. This is always what it's like with me. There's always a mess. So I just put it over my Vitamix. This just works for me. You can put it over a bowl or whatever, but this fits. And yeah, I'm going to dirty my Vitamix up anyway because I'm going to blend my already made milk kefir when I'm done here, so I don't have to wash it in between. So this works good. So I put a strainer on top of it, but like I said, you can put a strainer on top of anything and not make a big mess. But if you're like me and you do, you're in good company, right? So I clean up after myself. I clean my own messes, so it's okay. I am going to just stir this up because it's pretty thick. What I'm trying to do is get the milk kefir grains out, separating them. So I want the milk kefir grains to stay on the top, and I want the liquid, the thickened milk kefir to fall down through and go into my Vitamix. Best practice is to use a plastic or silicone containers or glass, but I have not, and it doesn't always do anything bad, so nothing bad has come of it. So I have another half gallon here just from the fridge that we went ahead and scraped the cream off already. So I'm going to add these milk kefir grains that I have just strained through, and I'm just going to add the grains to another half gallon. So that is that's all I need to do to this. And now I'm going to let it sit. I have this, they're pretty cool, like mason tops that have like a filter, like an air. Yeah, my explanation's great, right? It has air, airflow. You do not need that. You can use a regular lid and just leave it kind of a jar, or you could put a coffee filter and a rubber band, something like that, something that will let air in and not let your like sour flies or anything in there with it. And then I'm going to set that over to the side. I actually keep that on my baker's cabinet, and then I will clean this mess up. Okay, so this is ready to culture this milk kefir. Sorry, my dryer is trying to break, so it makes a loud squeaky noise. We are going to be using it until it is done. So this is the milk kefir that's already finished. And this is just that dirty jar that the milk kefir was in. We are going to actually take this finished milk kefir without the grains, and we're going to put it in with some fruit. So this is a second ferment. This is the first ferment. This is milk kefir right now. This is totally fine. This is what you can buy in the store that is in like the milk section. That's milk kefir. That is what this is. And some people say kefir and some people say kefir. I'm pretty sure we had looked it up years ago and it was kefir. So if I'm saying it wrong, I might be. That's fine. So I always put on my half gallon. You don't have to do this in a half gallon. You can do this in a quart. You could even do it in a pint. But I have a large family, and actually there's only like 4 of us. 4 out of 7.5 that drink it. But this still goes pretty quickly. So I add about a cup of fruit in the bottom of a half gallon jar. This is for the second ferment. I'm going to add my already made and finished milk kefir. And this is going to eat the sugars that are in this frozen fruit. And I just buy like the Costco or Kirkland frozen fruit. Oh, I should have let you heard that. So this will actually eat the fruit and it'll cause carbonation. And I like to blend it with that fruit that after a couple of days. So both of these things will now go to finish another ferment. This will do the first ferment and this will do a second ferment. But this is already completely done. It's second ferment. It actually will kind of dome my plastic lid. This is like a leak-proof one. This one is not leak-proof. If you shake things in these white ones that you can get like at Walmart, it will leak. But these black ball ones are leak proof. They have like a little gasket that you can because when you tighten down, it doesn't let any air out. So you want a tight seal on your second ferment. You want no seal, you just want some kind of protection from bugs. On your first ferment, your second ferment, you want to keep that, you want it to fizz, right? Effervescent, that's the word. So it should pop a little bit whenever your second ferment is done. So I actually am just going to reuse my lid and tighten it down, and those two are ready to do their ferment. So for me, I tend to just go ahead and blend this up whenever it is done its second ferment. I stick it in the fridge and then blend it. It tastes a lot better cold than it does warm to me. So this has the fruit in it, and I know it all fits in there. So I like just to make milk kefir smoothies, and I will add them back into this jar and keep it in the fridge, and people will drink it, and it will be gone before I'm ready to process the next one. So I usually add, like this had blueberries. Yes, this has blueberries too. I'm going to add a little vanilla and a little sweetener. I have a stevia and I have honey, depends on what I feel like doing, and I will blend it in my Vitamix, and then that will be finished. And that is my whole milk kefir process. And I have a whole video on this. I don't know why I'm talking it through so much, but just in case you haven't watched that one. So I'm gonna go blend this. So that's what it looks like. I just stick one of these. These are so awesome. Keep it in my door so that people can pour themselves some smoothie real quick. Also, these jars are great too for milk. Kids can pour from them, but this helps a ton too. All right. Peppers. Okay, we are at 88 degrees here. I'm going to go ahead and add our rennet. I have a 1/4 cup of water just like I did before. This needs to be non-chlorinated. We know that, right? I've said that plenty of times. I'm going to add about 1/2 a teaspoon for 3 gallons of rennet. And this is the kind I like to get. But I have used a different kind that worked fine. I can link both. Give that a stir. We're going to pour it on the surface. Is what we're going to do now. And we're going to mix it up and down. And then we're going to set a timer. The heat is off now that we're at 88 degrees. The heat is off. We're going to set a timer for 30 minutes and let this coagulate. With the lid on it. So that needed to get to 88 degrees. It's good. This needed to get to 83 or something like that. It's fine. It's pretty close. I'm going to go ahead and take one of those packets for the cultured buttermilk. I'm going to sprinkle it on the surface and let it rehydrate for 2 minutes, and then we will stir that in. It says rehydrated for 2 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and stir that in. I know you can hear my laundry dry or going, but we're almost done. Now that this is in, I'm going to go ahead and put it in a quart jar, and we are going to let it incubate is what they call it, or culture overnight, 12 to 24 hours at about 72 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pour it in. Whoop. Good. I'm going to put a lid loosely on top. And we will check back on this in 12 to 24 hours, depending on how warm it is in the kitchen. Just going to set it off to the side. I'm going to start heating this up. We're going to get this pretty hot. I might even need to pour off some of this whey. We're going to let this heat. As it's heating, we're going to get up to about 120, 145 actually. Some high temperatures. We will know when it's done because the curds will start to mat together. We'll try to get a couple balls of curds. Fridge. So we're getting to be about 120 maybe. And our curds are starting to stick together. But we're not quite there yet. We're definitely not ready to stretch. But it's all part of the process, right? Now I'm going to go ahead and add some salt to my pot. So here we go, stretching a little bit. Definitely could be stretched more. This is my way of just making a bunch of something. Now, the only really big thing that I use most often, mozzarella for is pizza. And I will shred this. I will put this in the fridge after I get it stretched. I'll put it in this water, cold-ish water. It's supposed to be ice water. Stick it in the fridge, and then tomorrow I will shred it and I will freeze cheese. This mozzarella cheese. It doesn't really last very long in the fridge. It's a fresh cheese. It doesn't have a culture to it. So I just tend to put it in quart-size bags, and that is a good amount for pizza. So that's what I end up doing. I just put it in the freezer, and it thaws out so quick if you have already shredded it. So that's in there. You can take this time to shape it into a ball. And then you can stick it back in the water to kind of like set it, the hot water.